Hello, welcome to Kat Sara Yoga. I'm Kat and this is day 8 of 30 days of yoga. Enjoy the class. We're starting in a comfortable seated position, and you might like to choose this slight variation of cross-legged with one heel in front of the other. See what feels good for you. And then close your eyes and allow your awareness to scan over your body. Noticing how you're feeling as you take a deep breath, and begin to observe that the breath is like a circle of 2 parts. Inhalation is followed by exhalation, followed by inhalation, a repeating circle. Just tracing this breath in and out. As your awareness of the breath begins to heighten, notice that after every inhalation there is a natural pause, and the exhalation organically begins. And then after the exhalation there's a pause, and the inhalation organically begins, and the circle continues on. Inhalation, natural pause. Exhalation, natural pause, over and over again. This 4-part circle of breath, and you will stay connected with this circle of breath throughout the class today. So taking a nice inhalation as you let your mind check over your posture, feeling lifted from the base of your skull. The postural muscles of your back are working to keep your spine long and lengthened. And exhale as you drop your chin towards your chest. Inhale, looking up and over one shoulder, continuing with the breath. Exhale, chin towards your chest. Inhale, looking up and over the other shoulder. And exhale, chin towards your chest. You might like to bring your fingertips down by your sides if that feels good. It does make the stretch more intense. And think of your shoulder blades drawing back and down, as if you could slide them in down towards your back pockets and keep them there. Taking your time. And bring your head back to center, head, neck and spine aligned. Bring your hands back to your knees. And then have a few nice big loose shoulder shrugs and circles. Inhaling the shoulders up and exhaling them down. And the other way. Keeping your shoulders dropped down your back and away from your ears. Inhale as you float your arms up. And exhale, circle your wrists down. Inhale up, exhale down. And the other way. It's okay if they're a bit clicky. And then bringing palms to touch in front of your heart. And inhale as you reach the arms up, interlock your fingers, turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, drop your chin towards your chest. Try to work your shoulders down your back. Inhale, bring your head to center. And exhaling, extending and leaning over to the side, but really think of length. So think of pushing your palms away. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, reach, extend and lengthen the other way. And inhale back to center, bring palms to touch, and exhale your hands down in front of your heart. Inhale, reaching your arms up, gentle twist from the base of the spine, looking out over your back shoulder. Inhale, reach and lengthen up, palms to touch. Exhale, looking out over your other shoulder as you twist. Inhale back to center, palms to touch. Exhale your hands down in front of your heart. Inhale, reaching your arms up, interlock your fingers again, turn your palms towards the ceiling. This time, exhale as you push your palms away from you, rounding your shoulders, push the palms out in front. Inhale, reach and lengthen up. And exhale, release your arms. Couple more side leans because they're so delicious. Inhaling, reaching one arm up and exhaling over into a side lean. Cartwheel the other arm up. And exhale over and return back to center. Some lovely big shoulder shrugs and circles. So let's move forward onto hands and knees. Hands under shoulders and knees under hips. Lengthening from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Spreading out your fingers. Creases between your wrists and hands parallel with the front of the mat. And taking a few breaths here, clarifying your 6 point pose, or flat cat as it's also called. Back of the neck is parallel to the floor, and your elbows are soft and your arms feel strong. Inhale as you shine your chest forward, turning your tailbone up but not sagging through the lower back. So keeping a little bit of engagement, the tummy drawing in towards the spine. Curl your toes under, ground your toes down to feel a lovely stretch in your feet. That's up cat. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat. Tuck your tailbone under, round your spine up towards the ceiling. Relax your neck, let your head hang down. Then sink your bottom all the way down to your heels into child pose. Inhaling, flowing up to hands and knees. Shine your chest through to up cat. So one more round here. Exhaling, child pose. Inhaling into up cat. And then rounding into round cat, down to child pose. Take a moment here. Keep the arms activated. So keep your fingers spread out. Feel your bottom sinking down towards your heels. Remember, you can use a cushion in between your bottom and your heels if you like. Have a few breaths. Even turn your palms to face upwards to feel that lovely stretch across your shoulders. Breathe into the back of your body. And then grounding your hands down. Inhale with control up to hands and knees, shoulders away from your ears, soft elbow bend. Curl your toes under and exhale, push your bottom up and back into downward dog. And again, just at the end of that exhalation, you find yourself in stillness in down dog. Just observe how you feel, let your mind observe the sensations in your body. Inhale slowly to hands and knees and exhale to child pose. One more round like this. And then inhaling, coming up into your downward dog pose. And just taking a moment here to paddle your feet, dropping alternate heels, clarifying your pose. So if you feel like you're rounding your lower back at all, bend your knees more, push your tailbone up and back. Towards the line between the ceiling and the wall, your hands are reaching down into the earth. And then walking your feet forward behind your hands, keeping your knees bent, let your belly rest on your thighs, into forward fold. And you can walk the hands back towards the feet a little bit. Maybe catch hold of your opposite elbow in front of you. So you're like a rag doll hanging down, but it's very important that your belly is on your thighs. So it's okay if your knees are really tightly bent, that's okay. It's important to protect your back by having your belly resting on your thighs. And then from here, we're going to bring hands to the shins, keep the knees bent. As you inhale, lift your collarbone up and forward, coming into a flat back position. And then exhale, release back down again. Suck your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor. Hinge at your hips. Keep the knees bent as you come up. Keep the back flat. You might want to inhale as you get towards the top to help avoid dizziness, or you can inhale as you move up. And then exhale, bringing your hands down in front of your heart. Check your feet are parallel, heel behind the widest part of the foot. Softly bent knees. Inhale, arms around and up, gentle back bend. And exhale, diving forward from the hips, keeping your back flat. Swan dive down, let your knees bend so your belly can rest on the thighs, upper body rounds then. Inhale up onto fingertips or hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, releasing down again, belly supported by the thighs. So your upper body becomes like a heavy weight then and stretches into your back and your hamstrings more, but you need your knees bent to support the back. Inhale as you come all the way up, or inhale towards the top if inhaling up makes you feel a bit dizzy. Exhale, hands down in front of your heart. So a couple more rounds like this. This is called the sun breath vinyasa. Inhale, arms around and up, gentle back bend. It's wonderfully energizing. Exhale, hinging forward at your hips. Knees bend, belly rest on the thighs. Hands to your shins or up onto fingertips, flat back. Exhale, rounding down. Suck your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor, come all the way up. Inhale as you get towards the top, gentle back bend, looking up. And exhale your hands down in front of your heart. So we're going to extend upon this now. So inhaling, arms around and up, gentle back bend, looking up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, diving forward. Let the knees bend, belly rest on the thigh. Hands to shins, inhale, lifting collarbone up and forward, flat back, looking straight down at the earth. Then bending at the hips, belly to the thighs, rounding over and grounding your hands this time. Step your left foot back and lower your back knee down. Bring the top of your foot to the mat. Check your alignment of your front foot. So breathe naturally if you need to, because we will do this in time with the breath, but we're just finding the postures now, so that's okay. Getting it into your muscle memory. So that right ankle is underneath the knee directly, and a right angle at the knee. And then drawing your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor, inhaling up into a low lunge, palms facing towards each other, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, ground your hands down, step back into your half plank position, toes curled under, hands under the shoulders directly, hips forward of the knees, tummy drawn in. If you're going to chaturanga with me today, then stay here for a couple of breaths. If you're still working on building up your strength for chaturanga, then bring the tops of your feet to the mat. Sink your bottom down into child pose. On your inhalation, come onto hands and knees. And exhale into downward facing dog and meet us there. If you're going to chaturanga today, then from your half plank, with toes curled under and grounded into the mat, exhale as you lower yourself down to the floor in one long piece, keeping your elbows in. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat, ground through the outside edges of the tops of the feet, and inhale as you lift your collarbone up and forward into baby cobra. Keep your shoulders sliding down your back. Exhale, release everything back down, forehead to the mat. Curl your toes under, draw your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor, feel lifted from your waist as you come back up in one long piece. And then send your bottom up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale here, we'll meet here together. And exhale as you step your left foot forward in between your hands, lower your back knee down to the floor. Bring the top of your foot to the mat. You can shuffle your front foot forward if you need to make sure that knee is over ankle directly. Draw your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor as you inhale and sweep your arms up, palms facing towards each other into low lunge. Exhale, ground your hands back down. So we're going to come into our forward fold now. I like to slide my front foot back just a tiny bit. Curl your back toes under, and then keeping the front knee bent, step forward with your back leg. The back knee stays bent too, belly rests on the thighs, feet are parallel, and you can draw your hands back towards your feet. Belly rests on the thighs and upper body is rounded over into forward fold. Bring your hands onto your shins and inhale as you lift your collarbone up and forward into a flat back position. Exhale, hinge forward at your hips as you round down again, belly on the thighs. Keep your knees bent as you draw your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor and hinge at your hips, coming all the way up to standing. You might want to inhale as you get towards the top to help avoid dizziness, or you can inhale as you move up. And then exhale, bringing your hands down in front of your heart. So whichever option you chose then, you've just completed a version of the sun salutation. And this is a sequence of movements in time with the breath, very commonly used in yoga to tone and warm up the entire body. So we're now coming into Tadasana, which is our perfect standing posture, also called mountain pose. So bring the thumbs to the back of the pelvis, fingertips to your inner hip bones that stick out the front of the pelvis, so you can just find those there. And align the inner hip bones with your knees and the lines between your second and third toes. So find that alignment with the legs and the feet. Feet are parallel, heel behind the widest part of the foot. Lift and spread out your toes, making the balls of the feet really broad. Rock forwards and backwards on your feet. Really spreading the feet and feeling like they are long and like your arches are lifted and working, the feet are working. And then ground your feet down. Ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe, left and right sides of the heel. Have a little soft knee bend and then bring your awareness up to your pelvis. Imagine that your pelvis were a bowl of water. And tip your pelvis forward like a bowl of water spilling out the front. So the back of the pelvis is lifting and the front is tipping forward. Tip your pelvis backwards like a bowl of water spilling out the back. Do this in time with the breath. Inhale forwards Exhale backwards. You might have a little soft knee bend, but definitely not locking the knees straight. So locking into the knees, just to show you, would look like that, and really locking into the back of the joints. It's not good for the joints. If you soften the knee, so a little micro bend, it protects the joint and also works your thigh muscles, works your legs more. So we're just moving with the breath here, tipping the pelvis backwards like a bowl of water spilling out the back on the exhalation, forwards on the inhalation. Let's make each tilt smaller each time until you feel that your pelvis is level. So it's like a bowl of water that's not spilling. Inner hip bones that stick out the front of the pelvis are level with the back rim of bone. And if you tend to automatically stand either with a backwards tilting pelvis, which tends to hunch the shoulders and tighten the buttocks, or a forward tilting pelvis, which tends to compress into the lower back and give you some back pain here. If you tend to automatically stand in either of those ways, then when you find your neutral pelvis, you'll probably feel like you're doing the opposite to what you normally do. But you're just overriding your automatic posture to find the perfect neutral posture in Tadasana. So you're finding that inner hip bones level with the back rim of bone, thinking of your pelvis like a bowl of water that's not spilling. So really visualize that stable bowl there and just notice how you feel. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. You may feel a natural engagement of the lower abdominal muscles. And this is your Mula Bandha, your root lock of energy, which naturally will engage. So your strength and tone occurring there in the pelvic floor and the lower abdominal muscles, and even the higher ones up here, the transverse abdominal muscles that run like a belt around your middle. You might feel them engaging when you find that perfect posture. So just standing here in Tadasana will be toning and strengthening for your core. And then we'll just give the shoulders some shrugs and circles, making sure they are stacked over the hips directly. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Feel all the movements that your shoulder blades can make on your back and go the other way. And then find that perfect place where your shoulder blades are on your back, neither sloping forward nor squeezing together at the back. So they're set down your back in the perfect position. Turn your palms forward. Soft knees. So your mind is scanning over your body again just to check everything. Feet still parallel. Sometimes toes tend to kind of drift out to the sides. Neutral pelvis. Shoulders over the hips. Ribs drawn in, so not flaring out but drawn in, but breathing wide and full into your chest. So every inhalation you feel your ribcage expanding evenly and broadly, forwards, backwards and out to the sides. You feel lifted from the base of your skull and the crown of your head. Tadasana, or mountain pose. Feeling so strong here in your neutral standing posture. And it might be quite the difference for you from your automatic posture, so just really observe that. You can turn your palms in towards your thighs again if you wish, but notice how your arms feel light and energized. If you feel any tension in your hands, give your fingers a little wriggle. Relax your fingers. So let's open the eyes if they were closed and bring your hands onto your hips. We're going to come into a standing posture called Warrior One. So this is really strengthening for your legs and grounding for your energy. And imagine that your feet are on parallel lines. So parallel lines coming out the back of your heels. Take a step back on your left foot, keeping it on its line. So that left heel stays on that line that's aligned with the hip. The heel is grounded down, and then turn your left toes out just a little bit. So like 11 o'clock on the hands of a clock. And then your inner hip bones are squaring forward to 12 o'clock or shining like headlights on a car. Bend your front knee, stacking the knee directly over the ankle. And we'll just move with the breath through the arms for a moment. So inhaling, floating your arms up, palms face in towards each other, and exhale, drift them down. Inhale, float them up, stay grounded through your feet, and exhale down. You can lengthen your stance, by the way, if you want a little bit more challenge, but just make sure that that front knee stays stacked over the ankle and the inner hip bone stays squared forward. So you'll probably need to feel that you're drawing your right hip slightly back, because the pelvis will tend to twist off to the left. So a sense of drawing the right hip back. We're inhaling, floating the arms up. And on your next exhalation, sweep your arms down, catch your opposite elbow behind you, coming into a bind with the arms, and lift your collarbone a little more. Breathe wide and fill into your chest. Check that the arches of the feet feel lifted. Legs active and energized. Warrior one pose. Bring your hands onto your hips. Draw your tummy and lift your pelvic floor. Feel strength in your core and step forward to the front of the mat. Back into your Tadasana, parallel feet. You might like to have a little paddle out for the feet. And again, your feet are on imaginary parallel lines. Take a step back with your right foot, keeping it on its line. That heel stays on the line. The right toes turn out just a little bit, like 1 o'clock on the hands of a clock, and hips stay squared forward. Bend your left knee, stacking the knee directly over the ankle. Lengthen your stance if you wish, if you want a bit more challenge, but really feel your weight is sinking down between the feet. Knee stacks over the ankle. Inhale, float your arms up, gentle back bend, lift the collarbone. Exhale, drift the arms down. Inhale up. Feet ground down. Body lengthens up. Imagine growing up out of the mat. Fingertips full of energy as they reach up towards the sky. Hips squaring forward. And then bring your arms down, catching your opposite elbow behind you. Rolling your shoulders back into that bind and opening your chest, lifting your heart even more. This is a wonderfully energizing pose. And return your hands to your hips. Draw your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor, step forward to the front of the mat. Have a little paddle out for the feet. And so we're going to use our vinyasa, our movement in time with the breath, our sun breath vinyasa, to come back down to the earth. So nice parallel feet. Bring palms to touch in front of your heart. Inhale, sweep arms around and up, gentle back bend. Exhale, hinge forward at your hips, diving forward with a flat back, letting your knees bend as much as they need to. For your belly to come to your thighs, and your hands will come to the floor because your knees are bent as much as they need to be. Bring your hands to your shins and inhale, lift your collarbone up and forward, flat back. Exhale, ground your hands, walk your feet back, coming into downward facing dog. Move your hands forward if you need to. Paddle out the feet. Enjoy a moment of stillness in downward dog. And when you're ready, slowly inhale to hands and knees. And exhale, rest down in child pose. And breathe. So just relax and melt everything. Wiggle side to side. Maybe have a little massage out for your back. Maybe bring your arms around by your sides, palms facing upwards. Release and breathe and melt into the air. Couple more breaths here. And then bringing your hands out in front of you and slowly drawing your tummy in towards your spine and rolling up to sitting on your heels. Bring your bottom down to the floor, or maybe grab a block if you prefer to sit on a block. And we're going to come into our star pose, seated star. So soles of the feet come together a good distance away from your body. You might like to move the flesh of the buttocks out of the way so you can really feel the sit bones in contact with the earth. Lift and lengthen up. Just notice how you feel. If you wish, taking a tip forward from the hips and maybe rounding over. And just a few breaths here. Observing where you feel the stretches. And then very slowly lengthening yourself back up. Bring your feet in towards you into bound angle pose. So a little bit more of an inner thigh stretch this time. Lift and lengthen up. Again, just inquire how you feel. And then just opening your eyes if they were closed. Coming into your comfortable cross-legged position, bringing your palms to touch. And just bringing them in front of your heart. Maybe give them a little press into your heart. And take a moment to thank yourself for your yoga practice today, for coming back to the mat for day 8. And for this commitment to this regular yoga practice, which is going to make you feel so amazing in body and mind. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. Thank you so much. If you've enjoyed the class, please do give it a like below and leave me a comment. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new. I will see you tomorrow.